Okay, here we go. Hello, everybody. Oh, no, I didn't turn that one mute. Okay, that one's muted. This one is muted. Click not now on that. Okay, I did the DVR. You're hearing me. So I'm going to bring Bertland on, and I'm going to go turn his microphone on so I don't mess that up again. Here's microphone on, and here he is. Hi, Bertland.
Hi, Doug. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so there, and I see Gary's here. So here's the AVDW check. Please tell us how we're all sounding. So, in case you're wondering, in the chat room, Bertland has already told me that he paid his electrical bill. So he's not going to go off this time. So I'm just getting a smile from you. Can I?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, you're still there.
yes,
You're still
yes.
there. So for those who didn't catch last week, Bertland's internet went down shortly after we started, and apparently for a major part of the island, from what we heard from people in the chat room.
Yeah.
But then we came back on. I had told everyone that we're just going to cancel for the day, but then you came back about 20 or 30 minutes later and said you were back up. So we finished up, and I looked at the numbers a little earlier today, and it looks like there were more viewers of the second video than the first, which means probably that most people caught the second. So here I see Aaron's here too. Aaron says AVD is good. And so we say, Blackwatch, I think you are pre-recorded. I don't believe that's really you talking to us in chat. Just because that's the way you are. And because you told me that you're not going to come in until 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So where I'm at, it's 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. If anybody was actually operating on Pacific Standard Time, then that would mean 11 a.m. But he said 1 p.m. So I didn't even bother trying to figure that one out. David Nation, hello. Aaron, hello, and Blackwatch, hello, all in good fun both ways. You and I know that about each other. Gary, hello. And Catherine Anna Hauserman is here. Hi, Catherine, good to see you. And that catches up with everybody, so that brings us up to 12:02. So let me give a little orientation for today's session. So in our second session last week, we talked about some things, suggestions that I had, and you sent me an email on Monday, 2 days after that session. The content of that email is in the description below the video. So I'm not going to read through it all because there's quite a lot there, but I'm just going to summarize it with basically there's 3-4 sections, I guess. The first section, you say, I took action. I went to a Father's Day meeting the same night, Saturday. So the evening of our last session, on Saturday, you actually found a meeting to go to. And that was a PTA meeting, I deduce. You said, I made contact with all the key people. I got contact details for the chairwoman. I won a prize. Hello. I even have a cell phone number for the chairwoman. I'm not sure, but see the email I am not sure, but see below the email I sent. I took your advice and went learning about National Parent Teachers Association Jamaica. I found they have 2 things that I can help with, 1 laptop per child and 1 registration of over 800 PTAs with the NPTAJ. So I did read through all of that. And you say, wow, dear Madam Chair. So this is a letter to email to Madam Chair, I guess, and you named 13 suggestions of how you might be able to help them. And you offer a free 1-hour Zoom consultation. You give your cell phone number, and then you give an orientation to who you are and your availability. And then you give the example of the Alice service call where she calls you after hours and you help her, and you're just charging straight time, and you give your organization's background, your 15 years of experience. You really covered a lot of bases here. Yes. So take it away, Bertland. What else is going on? What happened?
All right, thank you, Doug. So first of all, I just want to tell you that after speaking with you, I went onto the NPTAJ Facebook page. I was doing a lot of research, and I went onto the NPTA Facebook page, and I saw that they had a meeting, a Father's Day meeting, a free Zoom session. So I went there, and after going there, so we were speaking about, you said I had to have done some research and found things that I could help the persons with. So I did that. I found some a message that I could send to them. So basically I had a message that I was sending, could technology help your PTA? And I listed out 10 things. So I basically sent 2 messages to them. Could technology help your PTA, one, communicate easier between each other? And how I got this information was that after I spoke with you, you had made some suggestions. You were showing me how to use Google, the power of Google to leverage finding out more information about. For what it's worth, though, you've been showing me, first you showed me how to market, right? And then you're showing me how to do sales research, right? So you're basically showing me how to analyze, go do the research on my clients, my persons who I'm targeting. Because after I put myself out there with the marketing that we've developed, now I'm going to have to research the persons who I'm targeting and to find out information about them. Some things that you can target are the minutes of their meetings that you had shown me. We can find minutes of PTA meetings. We can find out who or what they are talking about, because the minutes are publicly available. They are on the internet, publicly available. So we're not doing anything illegal or nefarious with just leveraging the power of Google I never knew this. It's like common sense when you think about it. You want to find out more about somebody, you Google them. And then, so I found out more about all the key persons at the PTA. I found out who is the current president, and I found out who is the immediate past president. I found out the next level I'm trying to go is I'm trying to find out what are their pains. So the immediate past president's pain was that he wanted to register all the PTAs of Jamaica, so all the schools that had parent teachers associations. He wanted to register them, and I would be able to assist him with that. He's no longer the president. So go ahead, Doug. You want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And now you have the new president is Mitzi. She's the immediate president. She's the current president, and her mandate is 1 laptop per child. Due to the COVID pandemic, they want to get 1 laptop or tablet to a child. So I can assist her with Mitzi with 1 laptop per child in providing management solutions, or I'm not sure how I can assist her until after I meet with her and then try to find out what is her, like what she really wants to do, what's her pain with 1 laptop per child. I want to ask her some questions to find out, like, I haven't been able to get that follow-up meeting. I haven't gotten any response from the email I sent. I think the email I sent wasn't focused enough at a specific person. Say, for example, I'm targeting Mitzi, at PTA. She's the leader. She has problems with 1 laptop per child. Or maybe there would be more things that she has problem with. I think I should probably call her. But before I call her, I was doing some research on like how you speak to a prospective client. So I found out something about Ford. Ford is you ask them about their family, you ask them about their occupation, you ask them about their recreation, and you ask them about their dreams and aspirations. And then when you're doing that, you can also ask probing questions. So like, for example, when they tell you about their family, they can ask a probing question about, so how does your family utilize technology in a day-to-day? Something of that effect, how so you can find out how you could assist them in that regard with how you could add value with to them. And I also was working on my elevator pitch, my sales pitch, and I came up with just two simple words: I empower people. I empower people using ICT. And currently I'm doing that for the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office by empowering them to work remotely from home, where I delivered laptops and also created our VPN solution for them. And we also have I also empower my professor mom. The other day we published a book together. I'm using all my skills. So I need to work on that pitch right there. But yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a question about this one laptop per child. Since you found out that that is a concern of hers, have you gone to Google and searched for how do you get laptops awarded to kids in schools, or funding for one laptop per child? Have you done any research on what is already available for getting laptops for school children?
No.
Okay, you need to.
Yes.
Because that is a thing. That is a thing worldwide. It exists. And something that's probably going to be part of that is grant writing. So searching for how do you get one laptop per child in your school district? The more specific you get, you'll get more variety of hits for it. One laptop per child, laptops awarded for schools. Think of all different ways to word it, and then as an additional or separate pursuit, grant writing laptop per child for children. Grant writing laptops in schools. So grant writing is a thing that is a big deal in nonprofits and education, where money is available out there. Organizations, people have money, they want to help schools. And as far as I know, there might be organizations that specifically want to help Jamaica. I don't know. But if you can take your next approach to this current president of the organization, chairwoman of the organization, and say, hey, I have found some information about how to go about raising money for one laptop per child through grants or fundraising or organizations. Microsoft, the Gates Foundation has had that as part of their activity. I'm speaking out of memory now. So yeah, if you can go back to her with a few things that perhaps she doesn't know about, she's going to want to talk to you, or she's going to have more motivation to want to talk with you. And this could be, since that is a funding thing, the people who fund that expect to be paying for professional services to help make this happen. Now, this was a Zoom call, so the chairwoman, was this chairwoman of a local PTA or of Jamaica National PTA?
National PTA.
Oh my gosh, if you can get in with her, you already know that her pain point right now is how to get one laptop per child. What that tells me is they don't already have that. And there are ways to get it. That is a reality in school districts around the world. I'm not saying all of them, but that is the thing that happens in school districts. So that's very doable. And she doesn't know how to do it. And you've had experience on the government side. Oh my gosh, I have none of that. I do not have your personal awareness of how government people function. You have that awareness. So you've got a mix of advantages here. Okay, let's take a moment and catch up on chat because there's been a lot of stuff going on in chat here. I'm going back up to the place that I think I left off with 1204. Gary Wiesenberger. Hi, everyone. The real Windows 11 is being beta tested for business quite well and has been for some time. There has been many changes. Awesome. Blackwatch, Harper Valley PTA. Good song that. Okay. And David Nation, Windows team will also help him. Okay, so I'm thinking that's the Windows team in Microsoft specifically going to have an interest in being involved. It's great.
That's good. That's good.
If you have more specifics on that, David, maybe you want to get in direct email contact with Bertland if you have more specifically about that. Do you want to go ahead and speak out or type in the chat?
Type in the chat.
Your email address?
Yes, I will do that.
Let's see, some hellos going on. Yes, the TPM setting that will confuse many people, and Microsoft being so non-specific does not help at all. Yeah, I've kind of been contemplating doing some videos about the TPM issue. Yeah, I've got concerns about that. Hellos again. Hellos. David Nation just did a clean install Windows 10. My PC does not have TPM. Okay, but you are working with that. You're not working with the version that's been released to the insiders. I think you're still on the developers leaked version. Let's see. Hellos, responding to hellos. Most CPUs Intel has made in the last 8 years support TPM i7. Okay, so what I've heard on one thing that I read recently is that TPM 2.0 only came out in 2019. So that's not 8 years. I understand that TPM 1.2 came out around like 2011, 2012, but Windows 11 requires TPM 2.0. So that last 8 years, I don't think is going to cut it. Bertland, Blackwatch is telling us that your audio is zoning out, so we're still getting that. It's weird noise occasionally, and I have been hearing that. I'm wondering, do you have a headset? Not necessarily for this session, but maybe
next session.
Next session, you could try a headset and see if that
Yes.
eliminates that.
Sure.
Because I'm thinking that you're listening to me through a speaker, so your microphone has to be doing a what's that thing, that suppression thing, so that it doesn't, do that feedback. Yeah. And I think that's probably where that's happening with maybe your CPU isn't able to implement that noise suppression quick enough, because it always seems to be at the beginning of one of us talking. Catherine, yes, but most users don't even know how to go into UEFI, let alone find the settings. They will go and buy a new PC when it's not even necessary. Well, now you don't have to go into UEFI. You could just do Windows key R and then tpm.msc, and that'll try to bring up the TPM control panel, and that will tell you whether you have TPM or not. And there's another place I saw in security, I think, where you can see what TPM level you're at if you are. Tell him Facebook has chat rooms he can create. Catherine, yes, but if it's not enabled, it will not show. I think the tpm.msc will show even if it's not enabled, but actually I don't know that. So I do know that it shows on one of my computers, and I don't have encryption enabled. The computer that I'm on right now. Okay, I'm going to show it. I should go this way. Here's my computer number 2. Windows key R, tpm.msc. I know I don't have encryption enabled on this computer, but this shows TPM is ready for use. There And I haven't looked in BIOS to see if it's turned on or not. I'm guessing it must be turned on in order for that to say it's in use. So maybe if it's turned off, maybe it wouldn't show up. That's a good thought. Thank you, Catherine. David Nation, Microsoft will help and get PCs. So find some way to do Google search, how to contact Microsoft to get laptops in schools. Something along those lines. You should be able to find something. Catherine, mine was not even enabled in BIOS and thus did show up when I checked with tpm.msc. She's saying that to Gary. Okay, so that kind of confirms that. So if it's not enabled in BIOS, but it exists, then it will show up that way. Thank you for that. And Gary to Catherine, UEFI and most BIOS defaults to on. And that certainly doesn't mean that encryption defaults to on. I did recently prepare a new laptop for a client, and I think I reported that, in Tech Tales, that it came with drive encryption already enabled and active. And I kind of wanted to turn it off, but I found that it was going to take about 5 hours to turn it off, and I didn't have that time available. They needed the computer back. Gary says, Gates will check with Epstein for financial guidance. Epstein, I should say, not Epstein. Epstein. I think he's referring to, what was that old 1960s schoolroom show? Epstein, I think, was a student in the class.
Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell? No. I think it's older than that. What's that teacher's name? Didn't he have a little bit of a beard? It's just on the tip of my tongue. Catherine says, yes, it's a different name settings for Intel and AMD. This will create chaos.
David and Melinda.
Gary to David, how old of a computer do you have? What was the default? And there's your email address, bertlandhope@icloud.com. David saying his PC is about 10 years old. Please see my email address above. Yes, Blackwatch, you do not need TPM. So David's saying you do not need TPM, but you got to keep in mind, David's working with the developer's leaked version of Windows 11. And it's not needing TPM. Now, I am tempted to enroll one or two of my computers in the Insiders program this upcoming week and see if I can install the Windows 11, both on a computer that has TPM and one that does not. And then I'm also beyond that. I was even toying around with the idea of enrolling a bunch of my clients' computers in the Insiders program in order to let Microsoft see the telemetry of a bunch of more computers that don't have TPM. So maybe that would help them feel pressure that there's a lot of computers out there that don't have TPM. My clients have not, I don't think any of them, well, that's not true. I was about to say very few of them have purchased new computers during the last 2 years, because I typically sell them refurbished computers. So they're more than 2 years old. And yeah, that's gonna be a big deal. Except that, of course, we can stay with Windows 10 until 2015. I will work on this. You're saying my email, David Nation giving his email address. Gary's saying the audio is fine now. It seems like after a little while, whatever's going on with the audio, it seems to settle down. Catherine, to me, my TPM did not show up because it was not enabled in UEFI. I also had to enable Secure Boot to be able to see it. Interesting. Okay. Gary saying Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Absolutely. I believe even though they're divorced now, they're still working together on that foundation.
IT company. What?
If I enable UEFI on my PC, it will not boot a Windows 10 ISO. if I enable UEFI on my PC, yeah. Well, okay, that might be if your Windows 10 ISO was not created on a computer that's booted to UEFI. Yeah, I think there's probably some twist in there because, and we had the similar thing happen with one of the computers we worked on this channel, where we were trying to create an ISO from a computer that was booted without UEFI, and then we couldn't boot to that when we enabled UEFI. I think it has to do with whether UEFI is enabled. If you create that ISO DVD on another computer that already has UEFI enabled, I think then you'll be able to boot UEFI on your computer with that ISO. I kind of muddled up that explanation, but I think you guys know what I meant. Blackwatch, how do you know your copy is real? Does it have Bill's picture and autograph on it? Cotter, that was it. Cotter. That was the teacher's name. Do you remember him, Bertland?
No, Cotter. What's the name of that?
Cotter. That's not the name of the show. It wasn't Room 222. That was even older. Welcome Back, Cotter. That's what it was called. Welcome Back, Cotter. Yeah. And Epstein was one of the students. Yeah, Welcome Back, Cotter. It was hilarious. A high school room setting. Great show. Right. Catherine says, this problem will exist too for Bertland with TPM 2.0 settings, Intel and AMD. Gary, I'm in charge of operations and IT at a company with 33,000 users. And yeah, that's just amazing. Gary, I'm really happy to have you regular with us. I think you add a dimension to this. Blackwatch, welcome back series, Doug. Yeah, welcome back Cotter series. Welcome back Cotter or Carter? Cotter. I think it's Kotter. Jeffrey Epstein, the suicide. Did he commit suicide? That'd be sad. You mean 2025? I don't know what I said, but yeah, it's October 2025 that Microsoft has assured us that they will support at least one version of Windows 10 to October of 2025. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stop supporting it at that point. They could go past that. They've only promised that they will support at least one version that long. They could support more than one version that long. And the versions that are currently out, we know they have end of life prior to that anyway. So it's going to have to be, that means they're going to have to do a 22H1 and a 22H2 and a 23H1 and a 23H2 because their current life cycle is 18 months. So they're going to have to do at least one version that is 18 months prior to that October 2025. Sam, hello Sam Van Thiel. If you have a computer from the last 5 years, you probably have TPM. You would have to enable in BIOS. So again, I haven't confirmed it, but I've heard that TPM 2.0 only came out in 2019. That's less than 5 years. Blackwatch, good. I need an operation badly. Do you do brain transplants? To Gary, I guess that's because of the size of his company that he could do brain transplants. Sam Van Thiel to David, you guys did a lot of writing here. You would have to create ISO with UEFI. Yeah, and then enable UEFI in the BIOS. Then you need a full reinstall. Yeah, I agree with that. Lee Chamberlain, hi Lee, good to see you. Gary to Blackwatch, sorry, even I am allowed to have YouTube fun. Maybe I should personal office number or company name. Catherine, yes, Epstein suicided in his prison cell. Oh, wow, that's sad. And he was a pedophile. Okay, let's get even more sad.
Yeah.
David Nation, we'll find out next week when they release 11 Windows to insiders, except that they still could make changes. By the time it's released to the public, and Lee, I had to find my TPM chip that I had in my parts drawer. Yeah, right. All right, so 1229. Oh, goodness, that took a long time to catch up. Well, Bertland, during all that time, do you have another subject to take us on to?
Yes, I was just going to say that I was also realizing that in terms of communicating, so I realized something very key. The persons who I want to reach, I'm always on Instagram targeting. That's where I want to target them from. But I realized that when you target them on Instagram, the persons who you want to communicate with, they respond better on Facebook. So on Facebook Messenger, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I just said, oh.
Okay, yeah, so on Facebook Messenger, they respond, I don't know, better. So I've been getting more responses on Facebook Messenger when I'm trying to reach out. So let's say, for example, I'd go onto the National Parents Teachers Association of Jamaica's Facebook page, and then what I do is on the pictures or anything that they post, let's say for them they made a post, I'd go and look at who liked the post and who comment the post. And I'll go and I'd follow or I'd add as a friend any female, because I know kind of funny to talk to a guy. I don't know. In terms of how I grow, it just kind of funny to just go to like your show is different, because I can see you and everything, but I don't know. It for Jamaican guys, it comes off weird to just go to a random guy and start talking to them online. So I target mostly women, and then I target mostly women, right? And then what I do is I'll just say, hi, I think your feed is beautiful, move on. And I just do that, and then they respond. But what I'm realizing that I need to, as I was saying, when I'm forwarding them, because I do the forward with them, I ask them about their family, occupation, recreation, and desire, dreams and so. And then what I do is I need to know, refine my conversation. So I get some probing questions into what I'm asking them. For example, let me show you. Where's my forward? I have, all right, so let me just search for my forward. All right, yeah, so meanwhile I'm looking for that document. So basically what happened is I want to be able to more easily get information from persons when I'm having like an initial survey meeting with them. So I'm trying to work on that. I realized that Instagram is a hard place to do it. I don't know why. Recently, Instagram has made an update that they can now use it from the computer easier, but I think because it's mostly an app that you use on your phone, it's kind of hard to get to message persons, like to chat with them on Instagram.
That makes sense, and I think it makes a lot of sense that you'll find easier to get responses through Facebook messengers. It seems to me, and part of this is influenced by your reports of your experiences, that Instagram might give you a different level of discoverability from them, but then once you have a connection started, then maybe turn it to Facebook Messenger. I want to address a subject that you just kind of touched on, and you've mentioned a couple things along this line. You said something about some guidance you saw somewhere about, you even had a word, an acronym about asking about family and a couple other
occupation,
things.
recreation, and dream.
Yeah. I want to ask. I want to suggest that you use some discretion in utilizing packaged advice that you find somewhere that's telling you here's how to talk to somebody, and then implementing that to literally in a way that's not appropriate under the circumstances. Now, a good example of that is last week during our session, you had a list of questions that you were intending to ask the PTA people, and I commented at one point, that's inappropriate. And I didn't explain at that time what I meant by it. I think you had a little bit of a surprised look on your face, and the one in particular that I recall as being part of it is you were asking them about their competition. A PTA doesn't have competition. And that's what I meant by that was inappropriate, because they don't have competition. So if I'm a PTA person and you're trying to introduce yourself to me and convince me that you can be of assistance to me, and you ask me about my competition, you just lost all credibility with me. I'm thinking at this point, you don't have a clue what a PTA is for you to think that they have competition. There is no competition. PTA is Parent Teachers Association. So parents having interaction with teachers to try to improve the instructional environment for their children in any particular school or any particular school district. There is not a competing PTA that is trying to provide the same services to those teachers and those kids. So for you to say for a person involved in the PTA, who's your competition, or how do you improve or your competition, or even where do you see yourself in 5 years, I just don't see those as appropriate questions for a PTA. When you see those questions suggested as a canned list of suggestions for talking to a potential customer, the party that's defining those questions, they don't know that you're dealing with a PTA environment. So my encouragement to you is take whatever advice that you read or find posted somewhere and be more discerning about whether it fits for your environment. And so when you're talking with the PTA person here, what you've brought up today is, I think you said asking about family, and what were those other ones?
Occupation, recreation, and dream.
Family, occupation, recreation, and dream. Those just feel awkward and out of place when you're talking to that person about their PTA involvement. If you're talking to them about their home computer or providing support services for their home somehow, or you're going to build a deck on the back of their house, well, you're kind of in their space now. So becoming more familiar with them as a person makes more sense. Now, some of that could be included as you go along in your interactions with them. But to start out with feeling that you need to cover their family and their personal occupation, that's not PTA, and their recreation, to go through all those before you start talking with them about PTA. If I'm the person you're talking to, you're wasting my time. Can we get on to the subject at hand? So, take it for what it's worth. That's my reaction to what you were saying there.
All right.
You're okay with that? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for taking that the way it's intended. It's
always.
Fully on your side, my friend.
Always.
Okay, so catching up. Lee Chamberlain. I'm on Windows 11 all now. Catherine, of course. Thank you, Catherine. She's encouraging everybody, asking everyone to like the video. Let's see, what's it? I see 3 likes there now. So we'll see how effective. Well, maybe the people already responded to that, and that's what got us to 3. Well, what does it say for how many? I was showing 14 current viewers. Let's see. Please, better it would be Gary to Lee. I have never heard of a TPM chip. It is built into the Intel CPU. Yeah, it was not on my radar before all this stuff came up either. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was an American financier and convicted sex offender. Although he lacked a college degree, he began his professional career as a teacher employed with a private school. Well, maybe is this not the character on Welcome Back, Kotter? Is this somebody different than the character on Welcome Back, Kotter? I'd sure like to have that confirmed. Lee, I have a gigabyte motherboard and the FTMP does not work right for me, so I order a TPM 2.0 about a year ago. Yeah, I didn't know you could. Well, I think you can order the motherboard and CPU that supports TPM 2.0, but I don't think you can buy it as a separate chip. It is listed on Amazon as a chip, but you can't just add it to a motherboard. It's used on other devices other than computers too. Blackwatch, you are on Windows 11. I'm on Windows 10. How dare you talk down to me? Just kidding. Stop waving that blue wrench at me. LOL. Hey, Blackwatch, you tried to post something and it got blocked through the YouTube block thing. So I clicked on something that said always approve. I thought that was going to let you do links, and so I just gave you the blue wrench, Blackwatch, so that you can post useful links. And okay, here's what he did. He posted a link of, what was that video? It was a video, music video. Oh, I really enjoyed it. So Blackwatch, you got to take him with a grain of salt. He's always saying things just a little bit off, but I know his intent is genuine and good. Catherine, there is a software TPM which needs to be enabled in BIOS, Intel, or AMD, but there's also hardware TPM for motherboards, and I think it's still a little bit unclear whether the hardware is required by Windows 11. I think it is. The list of Windows 11 supported CPUs, Gary just posted a link for that. I want to point out that's a list of CPUs that are supported by Windows 11. That doesn't mean other CPUs won't work. It could mean that, but I don't think it automatically means that. And my evidence for that is when Windows 10 came out, there was a supported hardware list, and lots of computers that were not on that list worked just fine. And after Windows 10 came out, Microsoft kept improving Windows 10 so it would work on more and more computers. So I think it will work on a lot of CPUs that are not on that list. Microsoft is just saying, these are the ones we've tested. These are the ones that we officially support. So don't freak out if you're not on that list, is my advice at this point. Catherine says, please like the video to help Doug. I just asked because I have no shame to do it for him. Thank you. Lee Chamberlain, Amazon Supermicro. I'm assuming that's a link related to the TPM 2.0. He says, take a look. Let's see, check the Gary to Lee, check the page. He corrects, check the page. Oh, that he posted. Who would want TPM? Does Catherine Anna Hausman have plans for it? That's from Blackwatch. Now, I'll add on to that on a more serious note. TPM, as I'm understanding it, really the benefit there is to be able to do drive encryption. BitLocker. Yeah, I think it's also involved in some other encryption things, but probably not necessary. And really what it sounds to me is the thing you're protecting yourself against is somebody stealing your hard drive out of your computer, leaving your computer, and then being able to access what's on your hard drive, because the TPM will prevent them from being able to do that. So that means if somebody's operating system crashes and I want to pull the hard drive out, attach it to another computer to copy the files off it, if they have drive encryption enabled, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's not going to stop ransomware. It's not going to stop people clicking on scam emails. Yeah, I think it will stop rootkits, but I've never come across a rootkit problem on a client's computer. So with a rootkit, as I understand it, it's a virus, your computer is infected with a virus. If it is a rootkit, that means you can reformat the hard drive, reinstall Windows, and you're still infected if it was a rootkit. So the TPM prevents that from happening. I don't see that happening. I don't see people coming into somebody's office and disassembling the computer, taking the hard drive out, and then trying to access the hard drive. If they take the whole computer, they can still access what's on it. If you click on something in an email that you shouldn't auto, and that gives the bad guys access to your computer, they can copy files out at will. TPM's not going to stop them from doing that, as far as I know. So basically every CPU, I shouldn't be talking about TPM so much in this video. This is not the place to do that. We need to start a different line of videos talking about TPM, because this is just going to go on too long. I'm going to start skipping over the Windows 11 and TPM stuff, because this is Bertland's show.
I don't mind.
I know you don't mind, and you're being really good about that, but this is probably going to be something that's going to go on for a while. Yeah. And I've really been thinking that we need to do a video series just on this subject. Yeah, skipping over TPM. JE is not from Welcome Back, Carter. Totally different person. Thank you. I did not tell Microsoft TPM. Yeah, skipping over TPM, skipping over UEFI. Let's get that into more. I need to do videos on that. I want to get back to Bertland. Same thing happened in Buffalo, UEFI, Windows 11, chipset. Take a look at the link. You guys are fine to continue talking about it in chat. I'm just not going to read it out on the video. Rootkit's nasty, TPM, 0 day. Lee saying, sorry, agreed, skip over. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you guys can continue talking back and forth about that. That's fine. I'm just not going to read them out into the video. Bertland, let's come back to you.
All right.
So last thing I think I said to you is about using some discretion in the advice that you get. Yes. So what else do we have? You don't actually have something actively going yet with any of these PTA people, but you have made an introduction to them. The meeting that you went to was a Zoom session. It was not an in-person meeting. It was for the national level. You did have direct conversation with the prior and the current chairperson. And and we know somehow you're more comfortable talking to the women than the men. Fine. And you're going to turn towards educating yourself about how to get a laptop for every child into the school. Man, I think you got such a leg up in going down that road because of your background with working with government people and knowing how they think and operate. And I think that is kind of on a similar mindset as charitable foundation people. A little different mindset, but still they work on big budget and proposals and grant writing and all that kind of stuff. Have you done grant writing?
Not yet, but I will. Okay. I will be going to learn and looking into it.
It is kind of a specialty field, and there are people. I think you can even go to Upwork and what's one of those other organizations where you can hire people over the internet to help with grant writing. I've done a little bit of looking into it, and it is just so far outside the bounds of my interest area to learn how to do it. You can find sample grants You can find, I think, you can probably download PDFs of grants that have been written for obtaining 1 laptop per child for other school districts. And then just kind of rework it for your environment. So you may wind up being able to offer your services to the PTA for assistance with grant writing. I really don't know that very well. And maybe Gary Weisenberger, do you have any background with grant writing with your big business background? Maybe not, because I think he's in the profit-oriented world or business for profit.
All right. Lee Chamberlain said something in the chat as well.
Where I work may be able to help you out as well. Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Let's see. David Nation, tell Bertland, give me his contact and I will try to get him help. I think we already exchanged emails between you and David, didn't we?
And Catherine actually resent it back in the chat. So.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, Catherine.
Gary, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the place giving away laptops. Awesome. Blackwatch, PTA National is a far out start, Bertland. Gary. Okay, I don't know what verbal emphasis to put on that, so I'm going to skip over it. Catherine. Catherine to David. Bertland's email address. Okay, yeah. Where I work, we'll be able to help you out. It will. All right, that's 1249. Yeah, the whole male-female thing, different areas of the world has a different thing. In my region, I got to be kind of careful. Okay.
Yeah.
So how far are we into this? We're approaching an hour. Is there anything else you want to touch on and cover?
Well, I just wanted to tell you happy Father's Day, and all the fathers on here, happy belated Father's Day, And yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you for the sage level advice, and
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome. Although every time you say that, the word sage, I feel like I should stroke my beard or something.
Go ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome, Sonny. Okay. Saying goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us, everybody in the chat. Looks like 16 viewers there. And we're probably going to be on again next Saturday at same time, wherever you are in the world. And as far as I know, I think Jason Laster is going to be on again tomorrow. Typically we've had our confirmations on Sunday morning, so we haven't had that yet. And awesome. Look forward to seeing what you got to tell us about next week.
All right. So I'll rewatch the video and
all right,
get my notes together. Thank you so much.
And we'll try the headset next week.
Yes.
All right. Very good. So let's, which way am I going to do this? I'll switch over. You go ahead and click your leave button, and I'll just punch over here and do my sign out. So there's my email address on screen if you want to reach out to me for anything. Appreciate all of you guys being with us and your support of Bertland, and awesome your support of the channel, just being here and adding in your 2 cents worth. And I really do want to do something. I was thinking about a video series regarding this TPM and Windows 11 stuff, and maybe signing up a couple computers onto Insider's program and showing people how to do that. And my understanding is really not a big deal, not difficult to do. So that's it. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.